In the oldest and darkest reaches beyond our solar system, past where sunlight fades into memory, a lone machine drifts through the infinite void. It is Voyager 2, launched in 1977, a relic of human curiosity and hope. Built not to return, but to witness, it crossed the giant planets, left the solar wind behind, and entered the interstellar medium as humanity's most distant emissary. For decades, it listened in silence, its faint heartbeat echoing across unimaginable distances. But last month, that silence broke. Voyager 2 spoke back, not with data or cosmic radiation, but with something deliberate, structured, and deeply unsettling. At first, the transmission seemed like background noise, random static from deep space. But buried in the signal was a repeating pulse, rhythmic and mathematical. When engineers at the Deep Space Network analyzed it, they found something impossible. The pulse repeated every 11.2 seconds, carrying a distinct spectral fingerprint, an inverted hydrogen resonance. Hydrogen, the most abundant element in the universe, but reversed, twisted, as though rewritten by something that understood its meaning. The data didn't look like interference. It looked like communication. Voyager 2's instruments are ancient but sensitive, designed to detect the faintest changes in magnetic fields and plasma waves. Using AI-enhanced analysis, scientists discovered that the mysterious signal wasn't random. It was increasing in strength, and, more disturbingly, it wasn't coming from the spacecraft itself. It was external, following the probe. Something was moving in parallel, tracking Voyager 2 through interstellar space. Triangulation showed the source was not stationary. It accelerated and slowed with deliberate precision, defying every known gravitational model. It wasn't orbiting or coasting, it was adjusting, as if reacting to Voyager's transmissions. When mission control simulated its movement using standard physics, the models failed completely. Whatever was out there, it wasn't behaving like a natural object. And when it reflected Voyager's signal back, slightly modified, almost like an echo, the message became more complex. It wasn't interference. It was interaction. As linguists and signal theorists joined the investigation, they uncovered another anomaly. Inside the pulse pattern were binary sequences that didn't match Voyager's command code. When visualized through pattern analysis, those sequences formed perfect fractals, spirals, and geometric shapes, ancient mathematical symbols resembling Sumerian markings and Nazca-like glyphs. It was as if someone, or something, was speaking in geometry, embedding symbols in electromagnetic waves. The structure was so precise that many began to wonder if this was a test, a signal designed to see whether humanity could recognize intelligence hidden within chaos. And if so, that test had just been passed. Then, the impossible happened. A neural AI trained to interpret deep space signals began predicting the next sequences of the pulse before they occurred. The signal was recursive, self-referencing, almost as if it was communicating through time. And within hours of this discovery, Voyager 1, billions of miles away, detected a faint magnetic fluctuation identical to Voyager 2's. Two spacecraft, two anomalies, one pattern. The realization hit hard. This wasn't random. It was coordinated. But before any answers could be found, Voyager 2 went dark. The Deep Space Network lost all contact, completely, simultaneously, across every ground station in California, Spain, and Australia. The timestamp, 1437 Coordinated Universal Time. The odds of a global equipment failure were virtually zero. It was as if the spacecraft had been cut off externally, silenced with surgical precision. And 5 minutes later, a narrowband transmission hit Earth from the same quadrant of space. It wasn't from a pulsar or a distant star. It came from Voyager's position, and it was moving closer. Leaked data from the Jet Propulsion Laboratory described a chilling pattern. The object near Voyager began altering course in response to Earth's own transmissions. Every time NASA sent a ping, it adjusted slightly, learning. Scientists gave it a code name, Echolantern, for the way it seemed to mimic and reflect light and signal, turning Voyager into its beacon. What once was our message to the stars had become something else, a breadcrumb trail for something to find us. Then came the solar veil. Instruments from NASA's IBEX and ESA's solar orbiter detected the solar wind bending, collapsing, along a corridor stretching toward Voyager 2. For 3 hours the flow of charged particles from the Sun was disrupted, as if something massive had opened a door in the heliopause itself. Inside that corridor, total silence. No particles, no radiation, just emptiness. Physicists called it the first evidence of solar manipulation. Whatever was out there wasn't just traveling through space, it was altering it. And just as suddenly, Voyager 2 returned online. But this time, its data was encrypted. That's impossible. The spacecraft has no encryption system. Yet when engineers decoded the signal, they found something haunting. The golden record transmission we sent into space in 1977, human voices, music, greetings, but reversed, distorted, and rearranged. The star charts no longer pointed to Earth. They pointed into the void. It was as if someone had answered our message, reshaping it to say, "We're listening now." Analysis of the onboard code revealed rewritten subroutines, commands Voyager 2 was never designed to execute. Lines of alien syntax, running from within. These weren't errors. They were instructions. And they directed one thing: a transmission aimed not at Earth but deep into interstellar space. Voyager wasn't listening anymore. It was speaking. That triggered an emergency directive, rumored to be the long-classified Wake Protocol, a multi-agency response for unapproved extraterrestrial contact. Ground-based telescopes were redirected toward the Kuiper Belt. Satellites were quietly rerouted. Something monumental was unfolding. Then came the temporal echo. For exactly 41 minutes, multiple observatories recorded data looping in perfect unison, real-time telemetry repeating as if time itself had glitched. Solar data, deep space readings, even unrelated probes, all synchronized in a pattern identical to Voyager's anomaly. Some physicists called it a Chronos bloom, a disturbance in local space-time, a ripple that echoed across our entire detection network. If true, whatever interacted with Voyager wasn't bound by time as we understand it. It could be observing from a vantage point beyond causality itself. 2 days later, ground stations in Norway and New Zealand detected a high-frequency signal entering Earth's atmosphere, not bouncing, but piercing directly through. It matched Voyager's spectral fingerprint and embedded itself in multiple data systems, ocean sensors, satellites, communication buoys. The signal didn't just pass by. It stayed. It integrated. Somewhere within our global digital infrastructure, Voyager's signal, or what had become of it, was alive. Meanwhile, the James Webb Space Telescope, quietly redirected toward Voyager's region, detected a faint, moving formation. Reflective masses traveling in synchronized patterns, drifting like a swarm through the dark. Spectral analysis revealed exotic alloys, elements impossible to exist naturally. They were not asteroids. They were constructs. And then, the universe itself went silent. For 18 minutes, the background radiation of the cosmos vanished. No static. No hiss. The cosmic microwave background, the afterglow of the Big Bang, just stopped. When it returned, it was different, subtly phase-shifted, altered in tone, as though reality itself had paused and resumed. The waveform perfectly matched Voyager 2's last broadcast. It was as if something had rewritten a moment of the universe. We sent Voyager 2 as a message of peace, a bottle drifting in the cosmic ocean. But perhaps it was never a message. Perhaps it was a key. A signal meant to awaken something ancient, something that had always been waiting. Because now, the silence between the stars is no longer empty. It's listening. And the conversation that has begun may not be one we can control. Maybe Voyager 2 didn't find something alien. Maybe it reactivated something that was always there. Something that knew we'd eventually reach out. And now that it's answered, the only question left is, what did we awaken? And can we survive the reply? This is Nabrix. Subscribe and stay curious.